A very good morning to my dear students. I hope that you are doing well and keeping safe at your homes. Anyway, welcome back to 8th grade English class. In the last class, we just started the second chapter in the 6th unit and we had almost completed the first portion of the story. So, from the discussions we had in the last class, I am sure that you are familiar with the content of the story. Yeah, the story is revolving around a well which is owned by Thakur. So, from the discussions we had in the last class, it was clear that when the story started, the husband named Joku felt thirsty, and when he began to drink the water, he found the water had a foul smell. They were actually living far off from the well, so they used to fill all vessels with water to avoid going to the well every time. So, since the water had a foul smell, his wife Gangi knew that it was not good for his health or it would affect his health. So, she decided to take water from Thakur's well. So, she had to take it secretly since they were not allowed to take water from there. So, she went there and she was actually waiting for the right moment when there was nobody other than her. For that purpose, she hadn't left any trace of her to anyone and hid herself behind the wall of the well. So, at this point, yesterday we stopped. So, while she was actually waiting for the right opportunity to take water when there was no one other than her, suddenly she noticed the presence or the gradual approaching of somebody. So, then soon she crept away in the dark shadows of a tree in order to hide herself. That means, if they saw her, they would definitely report it to Thakur and Thakur would definitely beat her or punish her. So, in order to avoid such a casualty, she crept away to hide herself in the dark shadows of a tree. Then, let us continue with the remaining portion. Please do take page number 139 and look at the last paragraph. Two women had come to draw water and they were talking. One said, they are eating and they order us to get more water. There is no money for a jug. The men folk get jealous if they think we are sitting around, for they think we are taking it easy. So, while she was actually detected the presence of two women, she was in a way listening to their talking. So, as two women were approaching the well, they were simply talking to each other, and their topic for discussion was also about the exploitations they had in their own households. See, look at the explanation given here. Two women had come to draw water and they were talking. One said, they are eating and they order us to get more water. So, they were simply speaking about the power the men folk always used to play on them on the women folk in their households. There is no money for a jug. The men folk get jealous if they think we are sitting around, for they think we are taking it easy. So whenever the men folk in a household found that the women folk were not doing anything, or when they found the women were sitting simply, they would definitely get jealous and they would definitely order something to them. That means they wouldn't actually let them free anytime, at any time. They actually wanted to engage them in each and every minute. So when they found them really free, or when they found them really not engaged in any job, they would definitely give them or some kind of jobs, or they would definitely give them some duty just to engage them. So in that way, here they were saying simply that the men folk always wanted to see them engaged. They would never let them free at any time. And it was mockingly said here that, yeah, the men folk would definitely get jealous. They would be jealous about them if they found that they were not doing anything. That's right. And you will never see them pick up the pitcher and fetch water themselves. They just order us to get it as though we were slaves. So the second woman also agreed to what the other woman had already mentioned. Yeah, she said that yes, that was a right thing. Yeah, whenever and in order to substantiate her point of view, the second woman mentioned that, yeah, one couldn't see a man, yeah, picking up the pitcher. Pitcher means here means vessel. Yeah, picking up the vessel and fetching some water by themselves. So if they really needed some water, they would definitely approach a woman and they would definitely, yeah, demand them to have some water for them. So one couldn't anyway find a man who was actually, yeah, taking a vessel for himself and fetching water or collecting water for himself. Okay. So they just order us to get it as though we were slaves. So they were ordering everything every time as if they were their slaves. So the women, so the men folk always treated and always considered the women folk in their household as slaves. So that was actually the point that these two women were making here. Okay, if you are not a slave, what are you? You work for food and clothes, and even to get nothing more than 5 or 6 rupees, you have to snatch it on the sly. What is that if it isn't being a slave? Then, yeah, then they were of the opinion that it was nothing other than slavery. It was nothing other than slavery. They were working for food, they were working for clothes, but even though they worked for an entire day, they wouldn't get nothing more than 5 or 6 rupees. And that too, they had to snatch it. That too, they had to snatch. That means even though they were working hard for their family, they would not get anything, they would not get a good amount. At that amount too, yeah, they had to snatch secretly from them. And then they asked, what is that if it isn't being a slave? So simply they were of the opinion that it was nothing other than slavery. This is what called slavery. Don't make me feel ashamed, sister. All I do is long for just a second's rest. If I did this much work for somebody else's family, I would have an easier time and they might even be grateful. But here you could drop dead from overwork and they would just frown. And then again they were saying that, or the one woman was saying that, yeah, everything she did was only for a second's rest. That means, yeah, except for a moment, they were hardly working throughout the day. And she was of the opinion that if she did this much job or this much work for somebody else, she would at least get more than this free time, and that particular household or that particular family would be even grateful to her. So what she was trying to say is that even though they had to work hard for their family throughout an entire day, they wouldn't expect any favor from others' part. But here you could drop head from overwork and they would just frown. And if they took some free hour, or if they took some relaxation from their continuous work, yeah, definitely the men folk would express their displeasure. Yeah, that is what here it is written as. They would just frown. They would definitely express a displeasure. Okay. When the two of them had filled their buckets and gone away, Gangi came out from the shadow of the tree and drew close to the well. So from their conversation, it was clear that they were not satisfied. They too were not satisfied in their home. They were also facing the similar exploitation. They were also feeling or experiencing the similar exploitation. They were also experiencing the same marginalization, and they too were not contented with their life. They too had their own complaints. When the two of them had filled their buckets and gone away, Gangi came out from the shadow of the tree and drew close to the well. The idlers had left. The Thakur had shut his door and gone inside to the courtyard to sleep. Gangi took a moment to sigh with relief. On every side the field was clear. Gangi tiptoed up to the well. Never before had she felt such a sense of triumph. So then Gangi assured that, yeah, the two women had left. When the two women had left, Gangi slowly came out from the shadow of the tree and she approached the well very slowly. Then she reassured that the idlers and the women had left, and also, yeah, the Thakur, yeah, had just shut his door and went to sleep. So at this moment, Gangi took a moment to sigh with relief. So she was that much relieved, because she was that much happy, because everyone left the place. Now the well and the surrounding place were free and were without anyone. So she thought that it was a perfect time, yeah, to draw water from the well. On every side the field was clear. So the field was very clear. That means, yeah, if Thakur opened the door, he could definitely see the things that were happening on the field. That much the field was clear. Gangi tiptoed up to the well. Yeah. So then Gangi tiptoed. Tiptoed means Gangi elevated to the well. She slowly approached the well. Never before had she felt such a sense of triumph, and now she felt a kind of victory. She looped the rope around the bucket. Suddenly, yeah, she looped. Looped means a length of thread, line or rope that is doubled over to make an opening. That means here she connected the rope around the bucket. Like some soldiers stealing into the enemy's fortress at night, she peered cautiously on every side. So it was as if like a military attack. So she was actually, she was actually explaining, or she was actually comparing her mission to a military attack. That much it was serious, and that much it was challenging. So that is what he has said, like some soldiers stealing into the enemy's fortress at night. So it was as if some enemies who were actually stealing into the fortress, into the boundary. So likewise, she peered cautiously on every side. She was vigilant. She was as if searching for something. That means she was actually making sure that no one was there. If she was caught, then there was not the slightest hope of mercy or leniency. See, if she was found by someone, she would definitely caught. So that was why she was this much, she became this much vigilant, and she was looking looking around as if searching for something. Finally, with a prayer to the gods, she mustered courage and lowered the bucket into the well. Yeah, at last, collecting or gathering courage, she started to do it. She started, lowering the bucket into the well. Slowly, slowly it sank into the water. So she was doing it without making any noise, because if a minute voice occurred there, that would definitely disturb the Thakur, and Thakur would definitely come, and as a result she would get punishment. So she was actually doing it in a very secret manner. There was not the slightest sound. Gangi pulled it up with all her might to the rim of the well. No strong armed athlete could have dragged it up more swiftly. And the way in which she was actually lowering the bucket into the well here referred to than that of the performance of a strong armed athlete. That means here it is said that no strong armed athlete could have dragged it up more swiftly. So no, even the most trained athlete could never have dragged the bucket as she did. Okay. She had just stopped to catch it and set it on the wall when suddenly the Thakur's door opened. The jaws of a tiger could not have terrified her more. Suddenly what happened? There, while she was actually lowering the bucket into the well, she detected the presence of Thakur there. She had just stopped to catch it. She forgot, or she had just stopped to catch it when suddenly the Thakur's door opened. So suddenly Thakur detected her presence, and Thakur opened the door. And when Thakur opened the door, she just forgot to catch it. She had just stopped to catch it and set it on the wall when suddenly the Thakur's door opened. The jaws of a tiger could not have terrified her more. And it was here said that this was more dreadful than, or this was more terrified than the jaws of a tiger. Okay. So, the presence of Thakur here was more terrifying and more dreadful than the jaws of a tiger. So, that much she was afraid of Thakur. The rope escaped from her hand. So, when she detected the presence of Thakur, or when she came to realize that Thakur just woke up and Thakur actually noticed her presence, the rope actually escaped from her hand. She was that much dreadful and she was that much afraid. With a crash, the bucket fell into the water, the rope after it, and for a few seconds there were sounds of splashing. So, as a result, what happened? She actually lost the control, and the bucket and the rope actually escaped from her hand, and it fell into the water with a huge splashing sound. Yelling, "Who is there? Who is there?" So, suddenly Thakur shouted, "Who is there? Who is there?" The Thakur came towards the well, and Gangi jumped up and ran as fast as she could. So, after yelling, after shouting, "Who was there?" when Thakur came towards her or towards the well, she ran as fast as she could. Suddenly she left the place. When she reached home, Joku, with the lota at his mouth, was drinking that filthy, stinking water. So, the sight that she saw when she came back to her house clearly picturizes the sad plight of marginalized people. So, here really Joku was actually wishing to drink water without that foul smell, but he didn't have any other option other than drinking the water which had a foul smell, since Thakur was not allowed them to collect water from his well. Even though he did not have interest in drinking that filthy or stinking water, there was no option for him. So, he was happened to drink it. So, that is actually the idea conveyed here by Premchand. Only because of the reason that Joku and Gangi were marginalized people, or they were actually belonging to a suppressed class in their society, they had to live or they had to lead a life in accordance with the society's norms, or they had to lead a life in accordance with others' wish. So, that is the idea actually conveyed here. So, when she reached home, she found that Joku was having that filthy stinking water. That means their life would never had a choice. They were people who were happened to lead a choiceless life, and this choicelessness happened because of the inequality that they were facing. So, that inequality should be erased from society. Okay, so this is actually the idea conveyed in this chapter. Anyway, the question answers will be shared soon after the online class. Anyway, before going to wind up, we have a short poem under this same unit, and for the time being we can also take that poem too. Okay, now please, all of you, please take page number 148. Here you will have a poem entitled as "We Are All Equal written by the poet Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati. So this poem speaks all about equality. Okay, so now let us read the preface passage. The late US President John F. Kennedy said, "If we can't end our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity." Here is a poem that urges us to treat everybody with respect despite differences. So the American president, the famous American president John F. Kennedy once said that if we can't end our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity. So if we could not end differences, if we could not end disparities, if we could not end dissimilarities, the one thing which could be done by us, the one possible thing which could be done by us would be actually making the world a safe place for diversity. If we could not eradicate the dissimilarities, or if we could not eradicate the inequality, then at least we could go for a safe living in diversity. That means we have to involve everyone, or we have to respect everyone in their diversity. So that is actually the common solution we can have to overcome this situation. Okay, so this is actually the remedy put forward by John F. Kennedy, the American president, former American president. Okay, now let us have a look at the poem in order to know the content of the poem. So here it is a very simple poem, the meaning is also very simple. So now I am going to read the poem. Please do listen and read along with me. There was a white cat in her home which gave birth to kittens. One was the color ashen grey, one was black as tar, another was the color of a snake, yet another white as milk. Whatever their color, didn't all of them have the same status? Can we call one color superior and another inferior? Skin color may be different, but there is no difference among humans. Thoughts and actions are all the same across human beings. So the content is very, very simple. See, once there was a cat in the speaker's home, and this cat actually gave birth to kittens, and all those kittens were different in colors. Okay, one was actually ashen grey, one was actually black as similar to that of tar, then another was having the color of a snake, and another was white. So even though they were different in color, they were having the same status. What was the same status they were having? Yeah, they were having the same status, and the status was actually they were the kittens of the same cat. Then tell me, would it be possible to differentiate them on the basis of color? See, we had already come to know that one was actually grey, one was actually black, one was actually white, one was actually having the color of a snake. See, could we brand the one who was having the color of milk as superior and one who was having the color of tar as inferior? No, we can't, we could not, anyway we could not brand such kind of an branding among them, because they were having the same status, they were the kittens of the same mother cat. So skin color may be different, but there is no difference among humans. Thoughts and actions are all the same across human beings. So likewise, these kittens were the children of the same mother. human beings are all same. Even though they are different in color, they are having the same blood, they are having the same thought, they are having the same qualities. So, it is no way good, or it is no way acceptable to have different differentiations among them based on different grounds, and the different grounds may be based on their color, their caste, their social status, their financial status. Okay. So, those categorizations or those groupings are not genuine, are not acceptable, and are not justifiable in any way. So, this is actually the content of this poem. Anyway, I hope that you understood the two chapters which we discussed today. So, I think it's a time to wind up. Anyway, thank you and have a nice day.